Hey, welcome to Five Tools. So glad that you could join us here for another morning where I get to teach you just a little bit and try to help you take a step further in your spiritual growth and becoming the person that God has called you to be. We are currently in the middle of a series called Connected. And what I wanted to do with this series is teach us here at the Christmas season how to connect with God and how to stay connected with God. And so far, we have talked about how to study the Bible, how to pray, and then today I want to piggyback on those and talk about a way to connect with God that we might not think of, but is really important. And that is very simply our lifestyle. The life that you and I live, how we go throughout our daily activities has a direct impact on our connection with God. Now, it doesn't mean that God moves. God is the same. God is constant. God does not change. He does not drift away from us. But there are times and there are situations in our life where our decisions, our behaviors, our actions move us farther away from God. So today, what I want to do is almost do more of a Bible study with you on how our lifestyle can be improved, can be almost navigated in a systematic way to ensure that you are staying connected and moving in the direction of God instead of drifting away from Him. Now, here's what I want to say first about our lifestyle. Our lives are the result of the decisions that we make. That is just the reality. Your lifestyle, my lifestyle, is a direct result of the decisions we make each and every day. If you were just to sit down and think about all the decisions that you make in the course of one day, even the decisions that you don't even think about when you're making them, but you made them. You guys make hundreds of decisions every single day, and it results in the lifestyle that you lead. Now, some of those decisions have been very large decisions, and they've determined the path that your life went on. Some of those decisions are very small, but they still influence the life that you lead. The other thing about decisions that we need to understand is that every single decision we make impacts something else or someone else. That there are very few, if any, decisions that don't have an impact on something else. Every decision impacts or affects something else. Now, what I mean by this is everything in our life comes from something, and it goes all the way back until the very root, until the starting point. So when you look at the overall view of your life, your lifestyle, if you will, what that is you're seeing the consequences or you're seeing the results of the actions or the behaviors that you have in your life. Well, those behaviors come from somewhere. Your consequences or your results come from the behaviors or the actions. The behaviors and the actions come from your mind. They come from the thoughts and the desires that are produced in your mind. Consequences produced by behaviors and actions. Behaviors and actions are produced by your mind and your thoughts and your desires. But where are those thoughts and those desires produced from? And you see, what I want to teach us today is that the root of all of this, the control center of your lifestyle, if you will, is your heart. You see, your heart is where everything lies. Your values, your beliefs, the DNA that makes you you. That produces the thoughts and the desires and the words, everything that's in your mind that ends up flowing out into your behaviors and your actions that leads to the results and the consequences in your life, both good and bad. It all starts in your heart. And every step along the way, you have decisions to make that are birthed in your heart. You have decisions to make of what goes in your heart. Because what goes in your heart, I guarantee you, is going to come out. And your thoughts, your desires, your words, your feelings. And those are going to produce behaviors and actions that lead to results and consequences. Guys, it's a very easy way to understand your life. If you understand that everything starts in your heart. So, what do we do? If our lifestyle is a result of the decisions that we make, And if the decisions we make are the result of what's in our heart, what do we do? How do we make decisions that connect us with God? Maybe a better way is, how do we make decisions that we know will make God proud of us? Maybe that's an easier way for us to think about it. I want to give you a few verses today. And two of them are in Proverbs. The other two, I guess, will be four verses. Two are in Proverbs. The other two are in the New Testament. And I want to just walk you through my thought process when it comes to how we live a lifestyle that keeps us connected to God, that keeps us moving in God's direction. And the first verse I want to read to you, it's actually a section. It's found in Proverbs in the 4th chapter. And I want to start with verse 23, and then we'll keep reading in just a minute. But let's start with Proverbs 4, verse 23. This is what it says. Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Guard your heart above anything else in your life, because it determines, or it sets the path. It is the catalyst for everything else in your life. Your heart is a big deal, guys. And if you don't protect your heart, if you don't guard your heart, you literally have no defense to what Satan and the evil one wants to do in your life. He can tempt you, he can distract you, he can destroy you, he can deceive you, he can get you to think things that are not true, all because you don't guard your heart. You let your protection down when it comes to your heart. You protect your control center. You protect your headquarters. You protect your kingdom. That is your heart. Because that's where everything is birthed. That's where everything is created that leads to your mind, that leads to your behavior, that leads to the consequence of your lifestyle. Guard your heart above everything else, for it directs everything else in your life. Now, listen to where Solomon goes from this. He tells us how to guard our heart. He says, avoid all perverse talk. Stay away from corrupt speech. Look straight ahead and fix your eyes on what lies before you. Mark out a straight path for your feet and stay on a safe path. Don't get sidetracked and keep your feet from following evil. You know what he's saying there in a very weird way is you've just got to stay focused. You've got to make sure that your talk is focused. If you are around perverse talk, if you are around corrupt talk, get away from it. If you're in a group of people who are talking in a way that you don't think honors God, get out of that conversation. You don't need to be a part of it. If you are focused on anything except for what is right in front of you, that where God is leading you, you need to get focused. If your path is veering off anything, as Solomon says, set your path straight. You need to be focused on where you're going. Don't just drift and exist your way through life. Focus and set your path in a way that helps you reach your goals of becoming who you want to be, of being the type of person that you want to be. And my prayer is that that person is one that wants to honor God and wants to be connected to God. Proverbs 4:23 through about 27 is a great reminder of how important it is for us to guard our hearts and how to do it. You avoid certain things, you stay on the right path, but more than anything, you stay focused on what you're supposed to be doing. Now, I think when we look at how we make these decisions, there's really a 3-step process that I want to teach you, that I've learned in my 17, 18 years in ministry and leading people and coaching people. And it is very simply this. It starts with trusting and seeking God. And then 2, changing your thinking. And then 3, you've got to filter your behavior. Trust and seek God, change your thinking, and filter your behavior. Now, what I'm going to do is take you through a quick Bible study and flesh those 3 out. Okay? Let's start with the trusting and seeking. We're going to move back one chapter in Proverbs. This is Proverbs 3, verse 5 and 6. Listen to what this says. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Don't depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. Now, isn't it interesting that Solomon, the chapter before he tells us to guard our hearts, tells us to trust in the Lord with all our heart. Not most of your heart, not some of your heart. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart. It literally means to put the entire weight of your heart, I believe everything that makes you you, put all of that weight upon the Lord. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't depend on your own understanding, because your own understanding will lead you on a crooked path. You can be deceived. I can be deceived. So you trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding. And then the second part is you seek His will in all you do. God, what do you want me to do? God, what is it that you would desire in this situation? And when we do that, He sets our straight path for us. Then it's just up to us to stay on that path. Trust and seek God. Now, number 2, change your thinking. Let's move to the New Testament now. And this is in Romans 12. This is a very good letter that Paul wrote to the church in Rome, trying to help them establish how to do this thing the right way. And in Romans 12, he has a great passage, 2 verses. Romans 12, verses 1 and 2. He says, I plead with you to give your bodies to God because of all He has done for you. Let them be a living and a holy sacrifice, the kind that He will find acceptable. This is truly the way to worship Him. Don't copy the behavior and the customs of the world, but let God transform you into a new person. Now listen to this. By changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. What Paul is saying here is very simply this. Look, if you want to understand God's will, it starts by you giving yourself to Him. This phrase, offer your bodies as a living and a pleasing sacrifice, a living and a holy sacrifice. If you look at the Greek language, the original language, what it literally means is to offer yourself as a living holocaust. Now, when we hear that word, that's not a pleasant word that we think of. You know, you think of the Germany and the Nazis and Hitler, and you think of the Holocaust and the camps and everything that was done that damaged an entire generation of people. But if you look at the word Holocaust, what it literally means is it's hollow. There's nothing left. And it means to offer yourself a living sacrifice. You live in a way where there's nothing left of you, and everything that is there is of God. That's when you know what His will is, because your will is aligned with His will for you. And then it says, look, let God change your life. Let God renew you by changing the way you think. Guys, look, you want to work on your lifestyle. You want to live a lifestyle that connects you with God. It starts with trusting Him and seeking His will. Well, how do you know His will? You start changing the way you think. When you can start thinking the way that God wants you to think, when you can start thinking, God, what do you want from me? When you can start thinking, God, what is it that you would do in this situation? When you start changing your perspectives, not to a you filter or a you perspective, but a God filter and a God perspective, everything starts changing. Everything starts making sense. It doesn't mean it's easier. It just means you now have a straight path. You've guarded your heart. You've trusted God and you have sought His will. You've started to figure out His will by truly changing the way you think, changing your perspective. And then the final step is to filter your behavior. Well, what do we mean by that? Let's flip back another book here and go to 1 Corinthians. This is another letter by Paul, and he wrote to the church in Corinth. This is chapter 10, verse 31. Very, very short verse, but it speaks a lot. He says, so whether you eat or you drink, whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. You know what he's saying here is, look, whatever you do, it doesn't matter to me what you're doing. I care about how you're doing it. So whatever you do in life does not matter to me. But the way you do life matters a lot. So whether you're playing baseball, or you're playing basketball, or you're in your rodeo, or you're doing golf or bowling, or you're fighting in the circuit, whatever it is you're doing, you're coaching. Some of you are adults, some of you are parents, some of you are teachers, some of you are in bands that watch. Guys, we have all kinds of people that watch these videos each and every week. I don't care what you do. I care about how you do it. God cares about how you do it. And that how is answered very simply in this filter. Does this honor God? Is what I'm doing right now in this moment honoring God or not? It is a yes or no question. You can't try to justify your way into being a yes. Well, maybe it is if I think of it this way. No. Does it honor God? Yes or no? Maybe another way to think of this is does this make God proud of me? When you're in an environment where you might be tempted, in that moment when you have a decision to make, because again, decisions determine your lifestyle, when you have to make that decision, what decision will honor God? What decision will make God proud? When you're with that boy or that girl and things are going at a rate that you can't control, what decision will make God proud? When you have people throwing things in your face that are tempting and everybody else around you is doing them, what decision will make God proud? What decision will honor God? When things don't go your way in the field of competition, you have a decision to make on how you respond. Will that decision honor God? Will that decision make God proud? Guys, everything comes back to your decisions. You have a lot more control of your lifestyle than you might think, because your lifestyle is a result of the decisions that you make, and you are in control of those decisions depending what's in your heart. All I'm trying to say is if you guard your heart, protect what you allow in your heart, fill it with good things, positive things, God things, guard your heart, seek God, trust God, seek His will for you. Change the way that you think. Change your perspective so it is a God perspective. And then filter your behavior simply by asking a question, does this honor God? Does this make God proud? And you will be well on your way to a lifestyle that connects you with God and keeps you connected with God. I would argue that kind of lifestyle is going to help you connect other people to God. Guys, thank you so much for joining us again. We're going to take next week, Christmas week, off. Enjoy your families. Focus on the things that we have taught you this month. Start studying your Bible if you're not already. Start praying. Use a prayer journal. Connect with people that help you connect with God. And then as we've talked today, live a lifestyle that connects you with God by guarding your heart, trusting God, seeking God, changing your thinking, and filtering your behavior. I love you all. Thank you for a great first year. I look forward to 2019 where we can grow this even more. Would love your feedback. I hope you guys are still liking this and it's worth everything I'm putting into it. I love y'all. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to do this. Have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you in 2019. God bless.